2026, same as 2025, JJ. Video games starting off slow despite my goal.
Your resolution.
No, I refuse to call it a resolution, Michael.
You are resolute in your opposition.
I'm resolute in oppositions to resolutions. Resolutions specifically don't mean anything. It's about habits.
I think that that's a good headspace to be in. The problem is changing habits is hard.
Absolutely.
Especially as we get older.
I am not the poster person for good habits and or changing them. I'm just saying I think I've read enough on the psychology of doing things differently at this point to kind of understand what everyone's talking about. Behavioral change always seems to stem from different ways of changing habits. So
I think I broadly agree with that. And it is hard, man. And I salute you and everyone else out there who's making commitments or whatever you want to call them and keeping up with them. So
walk that line real tight there, buddy. Take it easy. Welcome to episode 484, the second official. I don't know. The last two episodes were kind of 2025 extended a little bit. And I want to extend 2025 by just one more moment because I had one thing last year that we didn't get to, JJ, that I want to ask you about.
Okay.
It's F1 related.
And
I've had it written down for quite a while, and we never talked about it. I think I texted about it, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. It was a weird pause for remembering a text, but because you probably know the answer, they get rid of the fastest lap point?
So I don't know that I have a definitive press release level answer, but my understanding, and I think that this is, I would have to go back and look at the statistics or whatever, but generally it didn't do what they wanted it to do, which is do anything interesting at the top. All it did was cause someone in the back half of the race to pit on the last lap and scorch a fresh set of tires that they weren't otherwise going to use to take points away from the people in the front.
I do feel like this past season, it would have mattered quite a bit.
Correct. But I think the answer is it wouldn't have because, it would. The strategy of it would have mattered, but it would have been anticlimactic because it just would have been teams in the back constantly denying points to the people that needed them up in the front. Unless the people at the front were willing to risk, losing position to gain the extra point back, right?
Yeah.
And losing one position in the front is worth between 15 and 10 points or less, depending on how far down the top 10 you are.
Sure.
And the fast lap's worth 1. So you're not doing that unless you have an entire pit stop delta to the next person.
Right? 2 points over the course of the season. If you could have grabbed 2 fastest laps, right? Maybe it changes. Okay, well, so that answers that.
I do want to say, though, that, important to remember, this was a historically close duel at the end of the season. This never happens.
Okay.
So,
usually someone's running away with it.
Yeah. And at which point then the fastest lap stuff doesn't matter because, again, it's some person in the back either stealing that point so the person in the front doesn't get it, or the person in the front who's been the fastest the whole race continues to be the fastest. Right.
So maybe it's they need to add more sprints to the calendar.
I think they are trending in that direction. There's also issues with the sprint in that because of the repair situations and the cost caps, if they want to add a new sprint, the teams are hey, you're making us use the car more. We have more, you need to increase engine allotments or money or what. There's logistical problems associated with that I think the sport and them can probably agree on and make happen. Also that sprints are only fun in tracks where they can be overtaking. And some tracks don't allow that just because of, lay out. But I think you're 100% right. And a lot of the tracks a lot more of them that should have those.
Well, since we're on the topic of logistical problems, let's talk about The Witcher there, Michael.
Guys, Henry Cavill is a great Geralt of Rivia.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes.
I will give it to Hemsworth. He inhabits the role very well.
Inhabits the role of Henry Cavill or inhabits the role of Geralt of Rivia?
He inhabits the role of Geralt of Rivia in a way that makes the transition try to feel as seamless as possible.
Okay.
He doesn't quite try to imitate Cavill, but he also doesn't make the role his own, I guess is the turn of phrase, in a way that takes you out of the character and make it feel like there's a step from last season to this season.
Really?
Yes. And I think I wonder if part of that is because at this point this was the fourth season we're talking about here. The story is kind of on rails because next season is going to be the last season, so they know where they're going with it. And you're kind of carried along by the ongoing events and a little too drawn in by that to really focus on the minutia of how he's playing the character differently.
This season has a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes, and you're selling it to me.
That's a low number.
It is a very
number.
So
you're
I
selling it to me like it's like no big deal, no big change.
So I would probably score it lower than the last 3 seasons because of the way that it is put together. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with him or his performance. But have you guys ever, and there are lots of examples of this, but when a director or a studio decides that they're making a trilogy based on a first movie, and the first movie's already done, it's out, and to save time, to save expense, they decide that they're going to shoot the second and third movies all together.
That happens quite a bit.
It happens quite a bit. A consequence of that, frequently, I feel like, is that the second movie winds up feeling like it's a setup for the third one. And I think that is probably the biggest failing of this current season of The Witcher, is that you get to the end of it and you're like, they were just trying to get us to a point where they were trying to get us to the point where they wanted us to be for them to tell us next season's story.
Placeholder.
Almost. Right, you
That's
get to
weird.
the end of it and you're like, I watched the 8 episodes and like stuff happened, but not a lot happened.
Well, that's weird considering that the whole thing's been written multiple times. It's been written as books, it's been written as games, it's been written through the 5 seasons of a show.
Yep.
The 4th season shouldn't be a stale waiting on anything.
Yeah. And there's more, I mean, the other storyline, Yennefer's storyline, actually has more going on, and I feel like is more of the meat of this season.
I think this is somewhat of a consequence of the show not telling the same story, or at least so far in the first 3 seasons, isn't just telling the story of either the games or at least the parts of the books that I've read. I've only read the first couple. But it just isn't doing those stories. And so, maybe there's future books that this plot line is following, but as far as I could tell, this was like, not invented stuff, but stuff that was invented following a, guardrails, I guess, And I wonder if this is just the writers were like, okay, we know the end point in this story, but we left here. We didn't necessarily expect to be told 2 seasons, like maybe we thought they were getting more runway or something, but who knows? Like it's hard to hard to back figure that stuff out. But yeah, often I wonder, and I think this is just true in general, right, Andy? Like, I think late seasons of shows typically score much worse than the early seasons of them, just across the board, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And rare is the show that, nails the landing super good. So I'm not surprised that it's low. I don't know how much the changing of the actor hurt it versus the writing versus, whatever else was going on in the show.
I
Like
think
the
it's
show just not being good, right?
Yeah.
storm of problems, but I mean, good enough that Michaels seems to be giving it a I'm happy I watched it review, which is
Yes,
surprising to me.
I'm happy I watched it. I wish that it had felt a little more like its own season. I think that's what the other seasons, the first three seasons, did much better than this one, is that they, even when they started telling a bigger story in seasons 2 and 3, they felt a little bit more self-contained while also moving the bigger story forward.
Well, also I think the personality of the show has shifted even from the first season to the third. If you without changing actors, without all that stuff, the writing certainly got less amused with itself. I mean, the amount of jokes and stuff that Geralt was making and the funny timing, the comedic aspect of a lot of it really just sort of disappeared after a while.
Yeah, well, it kind of skewed away from the fighting big monsters, right, into actually telling a story, capital A, capital S, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I like the addition of Lawrence Fishburne to the cast because I like Lawrence Fishburne in just about everything he's done.
I was gonna say, like, generally you don't have to sell me on him. I like him everywhere.
Yes, and I thought his character was very entertaining in this, very very sort of understated wry humor.
All right. Well,
So I'm torn on whether I would say I recommend watching it or whether I say hold off because I think the last season's supposed to come out this year and maybe watch it all at once. It might as a longer arc, like if you watch 4 and 5 all as one arc, it might help redeem some of the issues.
oh, it was really just season 4 and season 4 part 2.
That's kind of how it felt like. Like this was season 4 part 1 and I'm just kind of waiting for season 4 part 2.
Have they said when season 5 is coming?
End of this year.
I think I saw that it was supposed to be this year. That it's already filmed.
They filmed
they're
it with
just doing-
season 4.
Okay, so they're just doing like VFX and cleanup or whatever, and then they're putting it out.
Probably.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, confirmed for 2026 release.
Okay.
So, it was already filmed, that's for sure.
Yes.
They decided when I'm pretty sure they kind of decided when the Liam Hemsworth thing happened. They were like, we got to figure out how to end this thing quick.
Yeah, they're like, let's put a bow on it and get it out the door.
Before we totally lose everybody.
Yeah. So, I have a much different review to give you guys of a show on Netflix as well, also on Crunchyroll.
Okay.
Recommended to me by Michael, Tony, and
Yes.
and Fam. Recommended by them.
Friend of the pod, I assume.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Have either of you heard of Frieren? It's an anime.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
really?
have not.
Have you watched it, JJ?
No.
Okay.
There's so many memes, Andrew. So many memes.
What's the memes? Tell me. I'm not online.
I can't. Memes are a visual medium, Andy.
Yeah. Describe them to me in detail.
No.
What genre of meme are we going for here?
I mean, like, in the way that people use memes to kind of like, shit post and make like the meme is like, hey, everyone, remember this moment from some anime, and it's some image, and you're just like, I have no context for this. What is happening here? Or like, yeah, this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I could see it being a memeable situation. Yeah, I could see that. I hope. I don't know. I hope it's a wholesome memes because
So get me, is this a show? Is this a movie? Because I feel like there's both or multiple things going on here. Is this a
so
series, a
it's a
franchise?
it's a manga series that started a long time ago, I guess, and has been on hiatus for a while due to illness of the creator and all sorts of stuff. But I picked up on the anime due to the suggestion, so I have not read the manga of it. It just started its second season of show release, but the first season's 28 episodes, so I figured I could get that started, and watch that for a while. Um, some people call it slice of life, and I slightly disagree with that. Um, but there's a subtitle to the show which is called Beyond Journey's End, and the premise
Okay.
of the manga and the show is it's kind of like imagine you did a D&D campaign and then they told you your characters went off into the sunset, right? And you had to start new characters or whatever, but none
Mhm.
of them died. So like what did they do after they retired?
Huh, okay.
This is the like old D&D thing where like when your characters hit a certain level, they like go become lords of a castle or whatever, and you like
Uh-huh.
don't get to play them anymore.
Right.
You're not adventuring anymore, kind of thing.
Right, yeah. So what happens when the adventurers aren't adventuring, right? What happens when they become the successes that they set out to be? Um, it starts that way. Very quickly, you realize it's actually not entirely about the whole party. It's about this one character, Frieren, right? And she's like ancient, like super, super ancient. It's gonna outlive everybody because she's an elf or whatever. It's important that I mention all this up front because, um, it's beyond that journey's end is the concept of this character that is basically to our eyes as human beings would be like immortal, right? And so the concept of time and the concept of memory and all these things is at this forefront of the writing of this thing, which to me made it really fascinating in the anime space because it's not a shonen show. It's not a monster of the week show. It's not any of those things. And it's not even really a slice of life show. It's like pastoral in a way. It's very calm. It's calming,
Okay.
but there's still adventuring happening. There's still a story happening. There's still like you're watching a person come to terms with like, oh, well, I've done the thing I set out to do, and now what do I do? That I'm gonna watch my companions pass away. I don't really have a purpose anymore. Uh, all that kind of stuff, and the character, starts to explore like, what are the things I've missed because I see time differently. Like if I stay a year somewhere, to me that doesn't mean anything, but like I'll go back somewhere and somebody's dead, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then like realizing that, so the show starts to play with like memory, and what really was cool to me was like these long calm moments where they'll be walking, maybe a little bit of talking, they'll bring up something that someone wants to talk about, and you'll see memory flash across the screen in the way that you and I would, like, if I told you like, oh, you remember BlizzCon from blah blah blah, like remember the year that Metallica was there. The first thing that pops into your head is probably like an image, right? It's an image of the stage or an image of one of the things you did at that BlizzCon. And then you'll start to, if you sit down and think about it, you'll start to remember it more like a video or whatever. So the show is like flashing her memories at you as if you're in her head, just picturing these items happening in the midst of these very calm moments. It's really kind of like fascinating filmmaking to me. Not filmmaking because it's anime, but
Storytelling.
Yeah.
yeah, storytelling and like
I mean, cinematography is still a thing even in animated shows, I feel, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
and they do get into fights with like demon characters or whatever, and it really takes away a lot of the tropes of those moments of yeah, they'll talk to each other, yeah, the characters will tell them how they messed up or how they're going to be defeated or whatever. But, in a 20-minute episode, that's it. That's the big thing. And then, it'll be 3 or 4 or 5 more episodes before there's another fight or anything like that. Um because that's not, where the show's focused. And it was kind of for anime that is being memed or whatever else, it's just a very calm, different show. It was really, really strange. I tried to second screen it, JJ, and I just found myself sucked in to watching these like character moments between, she goes somewhere after 20 years or 50 years or whatever and meets somebody that was a kid when she was there last time. And you'd think that'd just be like a haha moment in a lot of anime. And instead for this, it's like an actual, like the whole point of the episode is encountering the changes of things around these people. Really
Actually
cool.
stop and explore those
Yeah.
moments that get glossed over by
Yeah.
other properties.
And it's kind of like also, once those memory flashes happen, if somebody asks this character about that moment, then they'll do like a dual timeline thing. You'll see the old characters in the old party walking through the same town, talking about the thing. It's kind of really it's a cool dual timeline thing sometimes. It's not something I expected to find interesting or up my alley. But I gave it a shot thanks to, it came with a high recommend from Tony.
I think this is one of the things that drew you also to Dungeon Meshi, right? Like Delicious in Dungeon.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that show is a similar thing where, like, yeah, I mean, there's fighting sometimes, but like more often than not, it's like a story about like what are these people doing? Why are they together? What's actually going on here?
Yeah, I think the Dungeon
Mhm.
Meshi has like a definite cadence to it. Like then they want to get through one or two story beats every episode, move towards further in the
Yeah,
dungeon, find the characters, do the thing, especially towards the end of that with the dragon and all that. They're trying to find that one character. There's a goal, right?
right. Yeah, yeah. They have a goal when they set out, of
Right.
course.
And so like there's some pacing to Delicious in Dungeon that is valuable, I think, especially because that show really is um troping hard on the roguelike D&D to, game type things.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like essential to the plot. Yeah.
Um Fantastic show too. Also slice of life-ish, also a little bit differently paced. This one just to me I thought it was going to be more of a I mean, I didn't know if it was just like a genre of anime that I'd never explored and if I was going to like it at all. And the main characters, the two leads really are both women, and I could feel like in a Japanese show that I might feel cringy about it because of how they might handle some stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
they nail it like really, really well, really, really well.
So I don't know a lot about this genre of anime, but I do know there are lots more shows in that slice of life vein.
Yeah, I
So
think
there's certainly that stuff is definitely out there. I don't know how much of it's on Netflix, but there is definitely a bunch of it out there for sure on Crunchyroll if you really want to explore that, this other genre that's out there.
I think I wouldn't love more of it. Like the thing that pops into my head when people say slice of life is like The Wind Rises, which I don't know if you've seen that one. Or maybe Up on Poppy Hill. Like, there's some Miyazaki movies or Ghibli movies that are a little bit more just like, what's going to happen in this little tiny space, like let's only explore a little space
I think
day to
that
day, that type of
this,
stuff.
the anime slice of life stuff tends to be a little more expansive in that, just by the nature of it being shows.
Yeah.
You get like slice of a high school life, you get slice
Yeah.
of, person in a dungeon like this one, right? You get the,
Sure.
so
This
there's like that sort of stuff, right? Sports
seems
slice of life stuff
more
is popular too.
this seems more expansive. That's why I used the word pastoral at the beginning, because they're traipsing around all over a country. They're talking about countrysides. They're exploring places. She's teaching people. It's definitely more. I mean, they will skip the actual slice of life stuff, and in one episode, it'll just go from like. There's these really good montages, very, very, very cool, because she's so she doesn't care about time, like hardly at all, and they'll get stuck places for 6 months or something like that, and they'll just run through these like little montages of slice of life moments, but you don't sit in them, you don't see them the whole time. So I think I like the word pastoral better for this specifically. Um, I don't need every day in a high school type thing.
Right.
I think, there are other shows that I would classify as slice of life. Have you seen The Melancholy of Haruki Suzumiya? Is that the name of it?
No.
Something. You might like that one. It's a little older. But yeah, that's definitely like, some romance stuff in there, but it's a slice of life in a high school kind of situation.
Okay.
And they're not fighting anything, man. It's just like this kid's a loser and this girl is the manic pixie dream girl, and
Yeah. I
but
found
yeah,
myself, a little bit struggling to go back to JoJo. I know JoJo's great and all those types of things, but just the
I mean,
7 episode fights and all that sort of stuff, it just wears me down.
JoJo is just like, it is shonen, right? Like, and
Yeah.
they're not gonna lie to you about that.
Yeah. I think
They
Shonen is
do
now second screen for me.
they do cool and interesting stuff in JoJo, which is why it's good, as opposed to like, the classic Dragon Ball kind of shonen. JoJo's pretty different, but it's still the genre still encompasses both of those things. And this stuff is like, facing east where that stuff is facing west, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just like
Totally.
different direction completely. So that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I know you guys aren't animating it up too much these days, but I was taken completely by surprise with how much I could connect with the cinematography, I guess is the right word, and the pacing and writing of a show just out of the blue like this that seems very, very popular also. And that also surprises me that this pacing and thing would be that popular. But I think JJ, it's your turn to learn us about something.
Yeah, I suspect at least Michael has already heard of this, but I watched a series of videos on YouTube recently that I think was pretty neat, and people should go check them out if they haven't. It is a John Boyce documentary called Fool Time.
Fool Time?
I have seen the name, but I don't know much about it.
Don't look it up, Andy.
I'm not trying to.
Okay, good. I'm going to tell you what this is. And
the only thing I want to know is how to spell it for the podcast, but that's it.
FOOL TIME. Just,
two words,
2 words,
1 word, hyphen,
2 words, 2 words. It is a documentary about the laying of the first transatlantic telegraph cable.
Oh, cool.
And you're like, what the heck is this? And it is about a series of men, all men at this time, who it makes 6 or 8, I think, of them, basically, across a 4-part series.
Let's clarify that. 6 or 8 men who are credited with this stuff at that time.
You will find out what is happening here, Andy. And there are 6 or 8 men involved in this story. And they fall categorically into 2 archetypes, generally. The Tim the Toolman Taylor Tool Time archetype and the Al Borland archetype of the quiet, less credited guy who keeps the thing working,
doing all the work.
and
I was
the
also saying there
loud
may-
idiot who yells and makes loud noises but makes the thing popular.
I was also
And-
saying maybe there were some uncredited females, but we'll never know.
Yeah, we won't. But there are definitely some men whose credit gets stolen by other men, let's say. It is fantastic. You will not know, and I guarantee there is no way you can predict how they did this. And when I was watching the documentary, I just like, can this be real? Is this how they did this in this time? This is what they did? Like, unbelievable stuff, man.
John Boyce is taking on his Ken Burns style.
It is
John
It is a
Boyce.
super interesting thing, and he likens a lot of it back to like the like sort of the creation of the internet, because telegraphs are, he kind of likens to the start of the idea of interconnecting. I see where he's going with that, but it is just a wild story of this was like the 1860s or earlier, right? Like, they don't have like good machines for building stuff.
Yeah, you can't just like have ships out in the middle of the ocean.
Well, they do
waving,
get ships out in the middle of the open.
No, I just mean like I mean
just
just like you can't just like with a bunch of GPS position a bunch of ships.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely,
stuff and just
it
drop
does not
it in
work.
the water.
No, no. And the wild stuff that happens as a part of this, like, this is so early, like they barely understand electricity the right way. Right? There's like some of these men straight up do not know and do not understand principles, like basic common principles of electricity, because they're Tim. They don't got it. That's not how Tim does. Power, right?
Yeah, just put power in it.
And it's great. And so you get a lot of looking back on Home Improvement, a show that has sort of like vanished from the public consciousness largely in a way.
I think not.
But
not
at
for
its
the
time,
worst.
but at its time was hugely popular, like extremely
Everybody
popular for
watched
a very
it, yeah.
long time.
Everybody watched it.
So it's very interesting, kind of dual purpose thing happening there. It's not like really a like retrospective on Home Improvement, but you just get a lot of Home Improvement as the result of telling this story. So very, very interesting. Like, wild stuff occurs, like, you get your Samuel Morse, who you're going to learn a lot about, and the Morse code inventor, quote unquote, let's say. And also, you turns out virulent racist. So not all wins with that guy.
1860. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and these other guys, who made this thing happen, and truly a super interesting thing. Like how the whole thing happens is just like very, very interesting. So I cannot recommend it enough. I think it's a 4-part video thing. I saw it on YouTube. I know it's on their Patreon also. Check it out. It's really, really good. The episodes are long, but you got to tell the whole story, right? So you get a good individual part, in each one of those. So I highly recommend people check that out.
I want to watch more documentaries. I think that would be helpful in my list to not feel as bad about 80, or 100 hours of something if there's like, oh, I learned something today.
Well, if you want to learn a bunch of like cool, interesting stuff, you could do worse than the Secret Base YouTube channel, which has many, many, many documentaries. Not all like this, but all interesting in this way.
All right. I think we got to ask the next important question, which is, did the how many hundreds of pieces, how many thousands of pieces, 2,000 pieces of Lego Enterprise teach you anything new about yourself?
I don't think it taught me anything about myself, but I think it's like about 3,000 and change, maybe.
All right.
Yeah, that was pretty good fun, man. I will say, go ahead.
As innovative as it looked. So pretty simple.
It wasn't challenging. I will say the first half of the build is a lot more interesting and fun than the back half, I would say.
The inside versus the deck plating.
The bottom half of the ship versus the saucer section.
Okay.
The whole of the saucer is just a bunch of plates all in a row.
Not quite. It's a little more. It's actually quite a bit more complicated than that. The way it is built, I don't think you would guess.
Okay.
But the back, the majority of the pieces in the back half are like, do this thing twice. One goes here, one goes there. Do this thing twice. One goes here, one goes there. And you're kind of like slowly building out the sections of a pie, maybe, let's say.
Okay.
To make, the saucer section go. Whereas the bottom section is a lot more varied just by the nature of, how it is, how it connects to the base, the nacelles, and all of that stuff. I do think they did a wise thing, and I think the Millennium Falcon did this too, but that was longer ago, so I don't remember. Where they sprinkle the minifigures throughout the build.
Oh.
So like every like 5 or 6 bags or whatever, you open it and it's like the first page is just like, build this minifigure. Here's a little blurb,
Right,
Yes,
I remember that.
It did do that. It's
So
a nice little touch.
That's fun. You're getting ready to build some, deck plating or whatever, and you got to put Deanna Troi together first.
That's fun. Did you, while building that, decide whether or not you thought you could fit in any of those upgrades that I sent you?
I don't know, man. I have it now in my room on like a little end table that I bought for it, with the shuttle pod and all the figures next to it. But like, I don't know how much I want to mess with it. The upgrade you sent about the deflector dish, I think, is the one I would do if I was going to do one.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's very visible and doesn't require that many pieces. But I would have to obviously like single order those pieces. I don't just have like the random ones he's talking about lying around.
Yeah, it was a lot of pieces to make all those different things. I can understand that.
Yeah. So, and I'm, he made like a little cutout for the bridge, but I'm never going to like open it up and look at that. So I'm not doing that,
Yeah.
The lighting stuff is insanely priced. And so I have no desire to do that. Also, I think some of it just looks horrible. So.
Oh, I think that it's going to be a while before there's good lighting, but I think it's going to stay expensive. I don't think there's any good option.
Yeah, and I just don't think I care enough to pay whatever those prices are. So, but it looks good sitting here. The only problem I have with it is the table that I bought and the level of my desk don't really work out so hot. But that's a me problem. That's a not anyone else's problem. That's just my problem. But yeah, it was a fun build in general. I think it was cool. Only like one point did we have issues when we tried to attach the pieces of the saucer that we had built when it tells you to attach it to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
There was a piece that was misaligned somewhere. We had to go back several steps to like figure out how this piece, because it didn't, like the thing that you're supposed to slide into the other thing wasn't fitting,
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to disassemble a bunch of stuff to figure out like why this one piece was sticking out in a weird way and go fix it. But this is what happens, right?
Sure. Nice.
Yeah, it was a good time though.
Well, I don't know how the new pieces of the Broncos offense are going to fit together after that playoff, you guys.
The new quarterback specifically?
Depending on what version of the internet you're looking at, Stidham is the next coming of Tom Brady, or he's the worst quarterback ever, who's 1-3 and would never make another team in the NFL after this. I can't tell which of those is correct.
Could go either way.
I mean, I think you're just going to have to rely on your defense to pick six or, generate some scores, because, the Broncos offense has been not horrible this season, but I wouldn't say it was like, an offensive machine
Setting the barn.
necessarily.
It's not setting the barn on fire.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't think I don't know. I don't know. The playoffs have been wild already, you guys.
Dude,
Wild.
there have been so many good playoff games. I mean, like, usually, I feel like you have to wait until this time to get the good playoff games. Like, we
It
had
has
so
felt.
many, like the first 2 rounds. It was crazy.
How many overtime games have we had now?
Yeah, like 4?
I think so.
Although 2 of them were the Bears, so I don't know.
But that's kind of been the emblematic of the Bears season.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean they've won weren't they the team that won the most games by 1 score or less?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Or
In
like
NFL, in
Their
NFL
point
history,
di-
I think.
Yeah, and their point differential for the whole season was like 3 points.
Yep, and lead changes within the last like 5 minutes, right? That was their hallmark this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cardiac Bears. And, it was both of their playoff games were wild, man. That Rams game, like, was nuts at the end in every direction, right?
I actually weirdly started to buy in to some sort of Bears magic and thought that they could pull it out. I don't know why.
After that touchdown, you were like, they're destined, right? Like,
Yeah.
It felt
He threw
like
that
it.
touchdown. I was like, they have to
How?
win now.
How does that happen? No one does that. He's 40 yards back, about to be sacked.
He's on his back foot, hucking it into
And
the
he
end
drops
zone.
it right into the guy's hands in the end zone, wide open,
I'm like, I literally was in the middle of that thinking, there's something that we've all missed all season about this guy. I don't get it. And then it was like, oh, they can't score in overtime. I see. Never mind.
That touchdown is team of destiny stuff. And then the pick is like, oh, right, no, it's still the Bears, though.
Yeah, I saw some really funny memes about it being Oklahoma Caleb Williams versus USC Caleb Williams.
Dude, did you?
That's very funny.
Are we out of USC quarterbacks yet, or we still have some left? Have you heard this stat? This is a crazy stat. Are you ready for this?
No, isn't what's his name? The rookie from this year? Wasn't he?
Drake May. Is Drake May a quarterback from USC?
No, the guy didn't make the playoffs.
No, but isn't Darnold still in it?
Darnold is still in it.
Yeah.
Darnold, and who is the other one?
Wasn't it the guy, one of the young guys on, like, was it? It's not Cam Ward. Who's the one of the Bryce Young? No. Who am I thinking of? There was a young quarterback this year who was playing, who was from, oh no, sorry. He was from Mater Dei, not from USC. I got confused
right.
there.
Yes.
Sorry, different. Although you can understand why I was confused.
You're
right?
talking about Bryce Young. Yeah, Bryce Young's from Mater Dei, who usually they go to play at USC. Yes.
Mater Dei is basically a USC extension. It's like the same, basically.
Feeder school.
Sam Darnold's still in it. Sam Darnold could likely be the first USC quarterback, I think, to play in the Super Bowl, by the way.
Oh my God.
Can you believe that stat?
That feels kind of unbelievable.
You can't believe that stat, right?
That is surprising.
I found a list. Super Bowl quarter. There's some surprising schools at the top. Are you ready for this list?
I think I'm not going to be surprised, but I want to hear it.
Okay. So this one's by wins. So I don't know if USC quarterbacks has ever made it, but I don't think they have. You can guess the top school because Tom Brady went there.
Right.
So that's Michigan.
Right.
Alabama next with 6.
Okay, yep, I can believe that. Jalen Hurts, et cetera, et cetera.
No, this is Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts.
He's won 2.
Jalen Hurts went to Alabama?
Did he not? Am
I don't know.
Losing my mind?
Think so.
Did Favre go to Alabama? He didn't
know.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts played at Alabama and Oklahoma.
Oh, well, This is the era of who knows what school they went to, so they probably didn't even list them. This article is from last year, so he should be on here. So I guess they gave him to a different school. Alabama, they gave Bart Starr, Joe Namath, and Ken Stabler.
Okay.
Purdue's got 6. Got Brian Greasy in there. Thank you, Brian. Oh no, that's Bob Greasy. That's Brian Greasy's dad.
Interesting. I'm looking at the list of the schools now.
Mm-hmm. Notre Dame was 6.
I was going to say
Joe Montana.
Notre Dame is on here quite a bit.
Louisiana Tech, all Terry Bradshaw.
Yep.
The Stanford's on here.
Stanford,
4 times.
yeah. Stanford has 4 Super Bowl wins.
So is that like Joe Montana?
No, it's Jim Plunkett and John Elway.
Elway. Okay, that's it. I was trying to. This is 2
those,
separate eras, so I'm not sure who the other guy.
I know those 2 off the top of my head. Anyway, that's the top ones we'll even talk about. You get to Stanford before USC, by the way.
Well, USC isn't on the.
They're not on the list. They're not even on the list.
Don't know if they're on the they got there.
I don't think
side,
so.
But
I don't think so.
No.
It's wild stat.
There's only one Cal though.
Look, there's a Cal and there's still no USC. That you gotta be kicking yourself, man. I know they're running back university, right? That's their claim to fame is all the famous running backs, but that's embarrassing.
There's not as many of the big schools as you might think in recent times.
Yeah, well, there's only 50 some odd Super Bowls.
But there's not like what are the biggest schools in college football right now, right?
LSU, Georgia.
Not Georgia has 1.
Indiana.
LSU not on this. Indiana not on this.
Are we going to talk about Indiana winning the national title?
Good job, Indiana.
I didn't watch the game, so I have no opinion.
Oh. The only thing I wanted to say about the national title, maybe Michael will care more, is that it's very strange to me that it's in the middle of the NFL playoffs.
That's the CFP, right? It's gonna keep moving as they add teams.
It's gonna align with the Super Bowl in 2 years.
I mean, the 2 biggest conferences are clamoring for more teams. Right? More teams get more money. Makes.
Again, welfare for bad college football teams. That's what they want.
I don't get it. Well, the NFL playoffs, since that's what we're talking about. I don't know if they get wilder at this point.
But if the Seahawks play like they did against who did they play?
San Francisco.
San Francisco, like they did against the Niners, the Rams have no shot.
Yeah,
dude.
So they won't get as many turnovers or something. Maybe I don't know. Stafford takes care of the ball better or something. But and no offense, Andy, it feels like it's destined to be Seahawks Patriots, and that is just a matchup I am not interested in watching.
Well, I don't know. I can't get a read on Stidham, and maybe that's what they want. They don't want anybody to know, But the guy has been practicing against the Broncos defense.
Sure.
True. So it's a top unit for him to be getting reps in against.
And I don't think New England's defense is that good. So maybe he's got a shot to get a touchdown in, and maybe Drake May, shows that he's actually still young and starts throwing some picks that matter. I mean, he threw 4 picks against the Chargers or something like that?
No, he had 4 turnovers. I think a couple of them were fumbles because of sacks or whatever.
All right. Well,
But
Close
yeah,
enough.
I mean, like the Broncos could be doing that too, though, right? So it's certainly possible.
Yeah.
I think the concern I have for you and is just, backup quarterback stuff that just happens every time. He's not on the page with the wide receivers. There's the he says one thing, they do the other thing, not on the same page stuff that just happens.
Mhm.
Not enough reps.
Yeah. And like, how many real games has he played? Just like real life full, like, oh, I know that defender is faking and is going to come, or, this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, that's true. Game speed problems. He played in the post or the preseason a lot, but that doesn't I don't know. I don't know why.
I mean, they rest, starting quarterbacks in the preseason frequently, so that's like not, out of the realm of possibility. I just think it's a super bummer, man, because obviously no one in the Broncos wants this.
No.
I
Yeah, I
assume
don't
the
know
NFL
why.
doesn't prefer to promote the backup quarterback. Like they would rather have the guy on there too. So
He hasn't taken a snap in basically 2 years. Like Bo Nix is the face of the franchise, right?
Yeah.
They want the
Yeah.
face of the face of both franchises to be playing each other. But I don't know how bad that ankle injury was, and I just was like shocked. I was like he didn't seem injured. Like
yeah, you go watch the clip that they say
Pey-
he hurt it on. You don't see anything.
Yeah, it's like a nothing of a play.
Peyton Manning played a whole season with a broken neck.
Yeah, I mean, they flew him out for surgery this week, so it was
I think it's
serious
already
enough.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh wow.
I think it's one of those like, well, if we're even contemplating not playing him, then we need to get the surgery done so rehab can start now.
yeah, especially of one of those kind of things where it really takes a while if they have to be off your foot for X weeks or whatever, months even.
Mhm. Yeah. Well. Oh well. Wild again. Everything wild at all times.
Yeah, it's been a real crazy year.
Well, so your prediction is
Yeah, if you're gonna point a gun at me
Seahawks.
and tell me to pick, I'm gonna pick Seahawks Pats.
I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make you pick
That's what I'm picking.
Seahawks
And
Pats.
I would love it to be then the Seahawks crush the Patriots because I really think the Patriots are fraudulent. Like I don't believe in the team that they have that they've gotten this far. Like I think that they have played bad teams and hurt teams, and I don't understand how they're where they are. I think it's like the Patriots seem beatable, but because their record was so good, they just keep getting matched against the worst possible, team coming in, and then they make it through. So
They're the guy in your fantasy league who gets everybody on their worst
Oh my
week every week.
gosh. Yeah.
as a person who has been that
1,000%.
guy, I know
1,000%.
how that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their team scores 80 points a week, but they've got 12 wins.
Yep.
Yeah. And then they carry the playoffs into the last week or whatever.
And then get exposed finally.
Yeah. Crazy. Well, if that was you this fantasy season, where should you email us?
You could send that email to podcast@weweregamers.com. Give us your prediction for who's going to win these last 3 games.
Man,
you can also get us at Facebook and Blue Sky at We Were Gamers on those places, and go check out our YouTube channel while you're at it.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll know what the Super Bowl is by the time we talk next. Crazy. Time flies.
Yeah, they've already started revealing new liveries and cars for the next F1 season, so it's coming.
I thought that car got released kind of early. Do you think that that's a ruse?
None of the cars they're showing now are the real cars. I
Yeah.
think this is there's there's a schedule out there of like when they're all going to show, and all the cars that they'll have at those events are fake like show cars. They're not the real cars.
Right.
But there have been pictures of some of the cars, Cadillac and Red Racing Bull, I think, on track, and those are, if not the final configuration, at least real enough to run on the track, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just felt like none of these they're not going to be revealing too much yet, you know?
No, all the teams are definitely trying to hold the cards as much as they can.